Welcome to the Putting Couch. This is episode 16 of the Putting Couch, brought to you by the SeeMore Putter Company's tour team. I'm Jim Grunberg, along with Cody Hale and Ted Galena. We are coming to you today from our studios in Franklin, Tennessee. And we are the tour team. We actually haven't done a live feed yet from a tour event, but we thought this week we would actually give you some insight as to what does happen when we visit a tour event. Cody and I just got back last night from a long drive, 8 hours each way, to the Greenbrier, where the PGA Tour season is kicking off this week. It's a military tribute at the Greenbrier. It's brought to you by the governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice, the owner of the Greenbrier Resort and the PGA Tour. And being here in Tennessee, they're only a couple of states over, and it was actually the best way to get there. So, Cody, that was kind of a fun drive.
Yeah, it was great. Even though it was a long drive, it was pretty beautiful. I mean, we through East Tennessee and part of Virginia and into West Virginia. I mean, it's an incredible place. First time I've been there. I don't know about yourself, but it was really neat to see the resort, the players staying there at the Greenbrier, and then obviously all the facilities that go along with that. I mean, really neat place.
It is a cool place. Have you been there, Ted?
I have not been there, but, our good friend Bert Bain, who's now general manager down at TPC Southwind in Memphis, was there for a long time, and every time he stops by here, he mentions how beautiful that place was up there.
And I think deep down that definitely was an attraction to us, because Bert had really talked it up, if you've ever turned the TV on during this event, which actually has been moved now to the new fall kickoff. It had been around the 4th of July before. So anyway, we went out there on Monday, and this time it was kind of fun. We went loaded for bear, and ultimately, I guess when you go to the tour, you're trying to figure out if there might be anybody out there on a given week that's looking for some putting help and looking, for maybe to make a change to something that would improve their putting. That's why we're there. Tuesday's the big day where all the tour players tend to usually be there on Tuesdays and practicing. And, there's a lot of players out there that are under contracts, 14-club contracts. So certainly the field of 156 is not in play. But on any given week, if you look at the guys that are independent, or there's a handful of them. And as SeeMore, we know all of them. They constantly are interested in seeing what we have. Many of them practice with our product. A lot of them will put us in play. We've won on tour, many, many times, and a lot of them have seen that and been a part of it. So it's always great to get out there and see the guys that have won using SeeMore, see the guys that, might be currently looking for something new, huh, Cody?
Yeah, no question. And, those guys, they're always excited to try and test new product, right? And it's always fun to bring something out there. Crazy that it's a new season getting kicked off here at the Greenbrier, and they're excited to get the season underway, but also, during these few events, a lot of them, that don't have contracts are looking for new stuff to take into the, to this fall, to the winter, and then really, to the next season, put something in play that they can stick with. So you do see a few of them that are looking at new options.
And don't get us wrong, tour players, they change putters. Some of them rarely change putters, but most of them change putters fairly frequently. And a lot of them under contracts, it seems like, change putters even more often, because they tend to sour on the putter that they're getting paid to use very quickly. I think that somehow creates a feeling of being maybe too committed. So within that brand, though, they'll just continue to change. And it is interesting. They're always curious about what we have as a small independent. So we're up against it. But this week we had something that really caught their attention. We're calling it the new SeeMore hosel. There's nothing about it that you'll find on SeeMore's site, because it's a prototype. It's at the prototype phase. And the first people we're going to talk to are going to be tour players, because that's where all of our product ultimately gets proven before we're going to take it to the public. But I would have to say that was about as much excitement as we've seen in a long time, Cody.
No question. It was a lot of great feedback. I think it's something – you've seen in a lot of putters, but never, our adaptation to it is so unique, and it also allows them to conform with our system, right? They have access to the rifle scope in a way that they really haven't before in that type of hosel. We still, obviously, I think all of us as a consensus believe that straight near center shaft putters can offer some of the greatest alignment and balance benefits. But for players that really like that kind of sort of visual look or have used that their entire career, we want to have those options for them. And they were really excited to see this new system from us.
Yeah, Ted, you've seen it in the studio.
Oh yeah, no,
what are your thoughts?
It's one of those things that has the person who loves the answer putter, and geez, I love your system. It's fantastic, but I've always played this hosel style putter. Now they need to come take a look at this piece of equipment because it has exactly what they're looking for. The comfort of their hands just slightly forward. But now I think it even, saying earlier, it exaggerates how important now the red dot and the white lines are to those people who use that hosel-style putter. Now I think they will see how quickly they move their hands back and forth without them knowing it, and that leads to different loft every single time they make a putt, putter face not being square all the time. Now they're going to see right away that, oh, my hands are forward, and I've got all this being the same way every single time. Why not give it a try?
And I think that's a great point because those players are still trying to achieve that, right? They're still trying to get better in those areas, and they want to be consistent. They practice so much, you'd think it just fall right into place, but that's not the case. They reinforce that, and that they understand. I think we have such a great reputation out there, even though we don't have a huge number of players. We have a great reputation for building, high quality product that they know that feels the way they want to, and we've had. In our DB4, we've had a system, a plumber's neck putter, but it's been, in my opinion, a little lenient for what we like in terms of our setup benefits to say an FGP or an FGP mallet, something along those lines. So we're actually able to take what they've been using in a plumber's neck, but add to that and add another level of.
We're not sacrificing the RST at all during this stage. I mean, all those center shaft people who love SeeMor and know what the rifle scope technology brings, it's phenomenal for them, and that's why they rave about it. That's why they give 4 or 5 awesome points. Now that person with that hosel style putter is going to have that same exact feeling as all of our other SeeMor users that use a straight shaft putter.
And it's interesting because the tour, in some ways, it's not anybody's target market. I mean, there's only 156 players playing this weekend for that $10 million purse. The rest of the world out there, like us, I mean, even players like you, Cody, who are very, very accomplished, played professionally for 4 years. I mean, you're not playing golf every single day right now for 6 to 8 hours. I know that's because I see you at your desk every single day, or I know that you're at a tour event. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help golfers do the things that even tour players who practiced 8 hours a day know are the most important things. And Ted, you mentioned the beauty of rifle scope, whether it's a straight shaft or our new SeeMor hosel. The beauty of rifle scope is that it helps you set the putter down in the same place every time relative to your body, your setup. It gets you square. It makes sure that the loft is controlled, the face angle is controlled. So now you're much more likely with the same stroke to get exactly the same results every single time. And that's why we still believe that the 2 white lines and the red dot is the ultimate innovation. So for 20 years, no, we're not chasing little sidekick innovations because we know that the main innovation still has yet to be experienced by so many golfers. And every single year we find all of our instructors and all of our fitters around the world tell us, no, most people still have never tried a SeeMor putter. And once they do, it feels like the greatest innovation in the world, even though it has been around since Payne Stewart won the U.S. Open in 1999. So that's why we're not quick to change. But we've added a lot of new designs incorporating that rifle scope. And now what we believe is that in 2020 with the SeeMor hosel, it really gives our entire line a different angle where the exact same benefits can be realized, but with the hands slightly forward. And so for a lot of golfers, we are a brand that appeals to the insiders. We talk to the media. We talk to guys that had been former manufacturers' reps. We talk to a lot of caddies out there, Cody. That group of players next to the tour players are big-time influencers. They love the game. They don't play all the time. So why do they come over to us?
Well, I think that's it too. Is that they like to see new and exciting things as well, and those players are, they're good players in their own right. Even a lot of the caddies out there that we see, and they know and understand our system. A lot of them use our putters.
Exactly.
Or have
exactly.
used our putters, so they know exactly how it works, and they're excited to see that. Hey, look, this not only you're not going away from your core mission, but you're just adding to that, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, and they're the ones that, maybe they don't play every day, but they still want to be at the top of their game, and they're going to use something that allows them to make it happen. And they understand the SeeMor system and how well it is. It's not you go into a store and just trying out 6-7 different putters and, then, this looks better. No, our putter has the ability to bring substance to it. It allows you to help the actual stroke. I always say we gradually break you down and build you up with a nice solid foundation instead of just handing you something that, this will help miss hits or this is going to help you do this. No, we encompass everything with the putting stroke.
And we feel that, again, our innovation, it's been proven over time and time again that players that do commit themselves to SeeMor, and most of the people that we hear from and talk to are just avid players around the world. And once they put a SeeMor in play, they never want to change. Sometimes they will add 2, 3, 4 putters to their collection because they may still love the idea of trying different things in different shapes. But when it has a rifle scope on it, then they know that they're going to be able to use it right out of the gate and be the best putter in their group usually. So,
well, and the best form of our advertising is you, the SeeMor user who's listening to this. When you start and begin and continue to putt well, everyone looks around and goes, well, how in the world are you starting to putt that good? And you end up telling them what the SeeMor putter brings and why you brought it into your bag. So that's one way you could help us by help growing this company, as you just tell 2, 3, 4 of your buddies of why you use a SeeMor putter.
And a lot of people, you're new to the brand, so we love having you on here. We do talk about all things putting. This particular week is going to be a little bit more SeeMor focused, just because that was our mission this week, was to go show the world something different. And they were kind of blown away because it doesn't look like anything they've seen from SeeMor before, and yet it's the exact same head that we've used in our line. So it's a really cool, innovative adaptation that allows you to put a little different type of rifle scope on there, but you will get it. Once you see it, you'll get it. It's different. It's crazy looking, but like all fun, great new products, we think once you set it down, it looks like, this should have been there for a long time. Why wasn't this in the collection? And that's the best thing you can hear is, this really makes a lot of sense. It's not replacing the rest of our putters. It is just simply enhancing and adding to the collection.
Jim, Cody, talk about like the day of, do you get there at 8:00 in the morning? How do you set things up? Is there protocol? If to our listeners out there, walk through a typical day of what it is like sitting out there or standing out there on the putting green.
Well, that sounds great. Well, we drove over there. We didn't get in until about 11:30 on Monday night. We stayed at a Airbnb. It was fantastic in a beautiful little town called Lewisburg, West Virginia. We would highly recommend anybody traveling in that part of the world stop in that little town. It's
Chamber of Commerce plug right there.
It's only about 5 minutes from the Greenbrier. And, of course, staying at the Greenbrier is awesome. But, I think in this particular case, the rooms were sold out. They had Pro-Ams and they had other big corporate stuff. So for us, Lewisburg was a real nice alternative. And, man, we pulled in about 11:30, and we were excited to get there the next day. So, Cody, we had, since there's 2 of us and we drove, we were able to take 2 giant staff bags. Normally when we're flying, it's just 1.
That's right, yeah. And we were staying in the coolest small town in America. I'm not sure who voted that, but it really was. It really is. We were only about 10 minutes away from the course. But, we usually try to get there around, 8 a.m., before a lot of the players. There's a few that get out there earlier, but, Tuesday's a long day. That's when, you have a Monday Pro-Am, you have a Wednesday Pro-Am. So a lot of the players have access to the golf course the entire day. So, we want to be out there for most of the day, be available to them, be able to support them. So, we were lucky enough to get a little bit of preferred parking this time, so that made it a little bit easier.
I don't think we want to talk too much more about that, Cody.
No, that's true.
It really worked out well for us this week.
It did. And luckily, and we did have 2 heavy staff bags, so they felt sorry for us, So, but no, we got out there about 8 a.m. and lucky enough, we have great relationships with a lot of the players throughout the years who have either used the product and put it in play or have practiced with it to reinforce good, solid fundamentals, reinforce setup. And, we just wanted to go out there. Our goal was to go out there and obviously visit with the guys who do play with us a lot, but also get feedback on this new prototype. And, wow, everything we heard was very, very positive. And now we have a couple requests to build a few.
We do, which was really cool. So we had a couple, there's a couple of guys from the media, Golf WRX, the PGA Tour has, they all have photographers out there that take pictures. And, of course, a picture in and of itself, I think without the explanation of what we have going on, again, to some people, just looking at those photos, I see something very, very cool, and everybody that's looked at it see something very cool. I think if you just saw a picture and you're expecting something else, no, it's not. This is not another direct copy of the Ping Answer number 568. It is something uniquely SeeMore, and it's simple once you look at it, but it wasn't that simple to come up with it because it's taken us 12 years. And but everybody that came along, whether it was the media, they were really blown away, and of course they all wanted to roll it. We saw a lot of putts go in. These were just hot off the press. These are the adapter, the SeeMore hosel itself is a milled piece, and so it's going to take some refinement in terms of getting different weights, different offsets. So this was just our intention was not to put any product in play this week. It was to just figure out if we were even on the right track. And the resounding answer was, yeah, you're on the right track. I'd like one next week. So we've got some challenges right now. I'm not sure we're going to be able to meet that deadline, but I think with a couple players, we can.
Yeah, no question. And I think the one important, like you said, thing to know is that it is a plumber's neck, but it's a completely different style of plumber's neck because it works with a lot of our line. It's just not the DB4 or the actual plumber's neck that looks like a answer style putter. It adapts to a lot of our line and can be on any one of our putters that feature a sports scope. So you have the benefit to. You just got a wide range of putters that this fits to, and it's just like using the shaft to hide the red dot, like most of our customers have done in the past, but now you're using sort of the shaft of the SeeMore hosel.
The bottom of the SeeMore hosel.
Correct.
No question about it. So that part is the same. It just then takes a little turn to get your hands a little bit forward. The way it swings is also beautifully balanced. One of the things that most people that love about SeeMore putters is, particularly with our straight shaft, is that the putter feels like it actually has such great balance it would swing itself. And the one thing we've noticed is with the SeeMore hosel, because of the balance of it, because of the way it goes into the head, it retains a lot of those same benefits. And people know that's really, really important. If you have a putter that doesn't fight you, the MOI doesn't work against your stroke, it works for your stroke. And we've retained that. So we think that's another really, really strong point about this. And now all of a sudden it's how quickly can you get it to market, and as a small brand we've got to follow the steps, but we're really, really excited.
Yeah, it was fun, and we stay out there till 5:30, 6 o'clock. During the day we obviously have access to to all the practice areas, to the locker rooms, to the media, so we can you're able to go out there and communicate with the players and sort of see what they're working with, see what they're working on. And a lot of those guys are great to give you feedback. And, you never know. You've got that kind of new system. They're used to seeing something from us. They walk by, they see something totally different now. And you never know sort of how that works out.
So working with player A, you go walk out on the putting green with him. Is it a 5-minute conversation? Is it a 15-minute conversation? Do you try to find out what his thinking is? How does that all work when you start working with someone out there?
Well, let's call player A somebody who just got his card. Okay, for the first time. Great player. Still hasn't won on the PGA Tour or the Korn Ferry Tour, but really great player and great friend of our company, and has done very, very well over the years with our product. But also used a different putter to win in college and a different putter to win at the junior level. So let's just say we're in the rotation, and we're in a regular rotation. And the funny thing is a lot of the tour players, they know that SeeMor is the fastest way for them to get back on track. But they're so good, and once they start using a SeeMor and they start getting really great, they sort of forget that they had been struggling before, Ted. You've seen this before.
Oh, yeah. And all of a sudden it goes out of the bag.
And all of a sudden,
and they
okay,
put
something else
in.
Yeah, we're not there every single week. We don't have tour trucks. I mean, I'll be honest, there's a lot of eye candy out there,
Sure.
So you've got 5 different people every single day coming up and customizing something for you and writing you a check in many cases, which we're not doing. So we're fighting with one hand tied behind our back. But what we have is we have an authentic technology that they recognize has helped them in the past and will help them in the future. And so we've got these great relationships. They come up to us, and oftentimes it's 15, 20 minutes, Ted. And in this particular case, it was, what do you think? We had about, 5 or 6 different shapes with this new SeeMor hosel. And in each case, the guys that we talked to, they wanted to roll it. They didn't want to stop rolling it, although they knew that, hey, this is the first tournament of the year. It's Tuesday. Hey, I got to get back to work. But, they're golfers, right? And they like SeeMor. They love everything about what we do, and they're really, really helpful. They gave us some great input, and oftentimes then their caddies are friends of ours and came over. So probably about half an hour, I'd say sometimes.
I imagine they love the input, too, as well. It's honest input from an independent putter company that all we do is just putters. So giving that information that maybe some other companies might not want to give to them, that this is how we can help, or this might be why you are struggling this way, and giving that input to them might open their eyes a little bit more.
Well, 2 of the guys, Ted, were guys that both you and Cody have actually worked with and have won PGA Tour events and major championships. So, we're not talking about guys that were Monday qualifiers here. But we did actually have an interesting conversation with a Monday qualifier who came up and said, hey, I've got a friend who said I needed to come talk to you guys. And 2 years ago, he used our putter on the Corn Ferry Tour. It wasn't that name at the time, to earn the highest status he'd ever had. In fact, he parlayed it into a full equipment relationship last year, had to switch putters, had one of the worst seasons of his career. And not only did this Monday qualifier come up and tell us that his friend told him to come see us, but he said, make sure that they know that I've since left that company, and the SeeMor is back in the bag. So pretty awesome. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that had come here to our studio. He drove over to our studio to work with us about 2 years ago, and it led to his best year on tour, just like Cody had 2 guys on the web on the Corn Ferry Tour this year. Same thing. They came in here, they got fit, and they had career years on the tour.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you just never know how those conversations will go. I think one of the goals that I've had on tour, and we all have, is that you have a select number of people that you have access to, really, in terms of the guys who have contracts. So the goal is to build a lot of great relationships out there, and I think that's one thing we've been able to do, is have great relationships where it's not let's just get a putter and play this week. It's more about, hey, let's find something that you can work with, and then when it's right, let's get something in place so that when they're either ready to switch, or we have a product like this that we can go out and say, hey, look, can you give us a little bit of feedback? They're really open to that. So the conversations are better, they're deeper, we get better feedback so that we can make the adjustments we need to in order to provide a higher level of product for them. So, it's really cool. So those guys that come up to us, they give us some really cool, good information on what they like, what they're working on, and then what they would like to see. And then, we sort of try to match that up, from our end and say, hey, look, here's what we have, here's what we're working on, and here's how this can help you. And so I think that's really cool, is those relationships help us sort of be able to go out and get some really deep, good feedback from those guys.
And from the early days, from Payne Stewart to Zach Johnson to Vaughn Taylor, all of whom led the tour in putting, after putting a SeeMor putter in play, with each one of them, it was a process to put it in. And I think what Cody's saying is that, we want to practice what we preach. We believe that SeeMor is not just a great putter, but it's a putting system, and it'll make you better over time. But you need to make sure that you understand everything about it, and that we've gone through all the various options before you actually put it in play. Otherwise, it becomes just like going to a store and grabbing a putter off the
One-hit
shelf.
wonder.
And that's a lot of what happens out on the PGA Tour. It is ironic that at that level, a lot of tour players are just that somebody just sticks something in their hands, and that week it goes into play because it's got their name on there and it's got a possible check attached. But the next week, it really wasn't maybe fit the way that it could have been. And not all transactions are that way. There are definitely companies out there, they all want to fit players, but sometimes the temptation is too much to just grab something. So I think what Cody's saying is correct. I mean, Cody has earned a lot of trust out there. He played with them on tour, and they understand that hey, let's start working towards something right now. So when you do put it in play, you've got the confidence to know that this is one part of your game that you can put a check next to. You're going to be at your best.
Yeah, and those guys, once they do have that trust, they give you that opportunity to, filter in a little bit more information as they go along to help them. And they're like we said, there is a lot of eye candy out there. There's a lot of you walk in the convenience store, there's a lot of options for them to choose from, and they're out there each week with guys that are trying to get them new stuff, and not like Jim said, they're not always perfectly fit in those. They pick them up. And that's the thing about those guys. I think a lot of people have to understand they can putt with a lot of different things because they practice a lot. They can get used to a different dynamic in a putter pretty quick, as many repetitions as they take. So it's all about trying to take it and just give them a little bit of a higher ceiling.
And that's where, again, as important as the tour is, we don't spend 5 days a week out on tour because it's critically important, but we also really want to spend time with our fitters and our instructors and the people that are actually working with golfers that maybe play that 1 or 2 games a week, right, a couple times a month. And with that player, it really is about reducing variables, making it simple. We hear that over and over and over. So on some levels, the tour is a microcosm of that. The tour really could benefit from the same thing, the tour player, making it simple. But really, we know, Ted, that the listeners to this, to the Putting Couch, they want help in simplifying the game. And that's ultimately what the SeeMor Putter, the SeeMor system, and all levels does. And we're going to keep trying to do that. So we're going to innovate in terms of materials and in terms of shapes and designs. But, wow, we haven't found anything even close to as effective as our rifle scope at helping every and any golfer come down with a system that eliminates those variables, Ted.
Yeah, and ever since I started doing this since 2007, I've never thought I would ever be teaching putting in this great of detail. But I say this all the time. Everything that I've been saying about teaching in 2007, I say it on a daily basis now. And it doesn't change, and that's how consistent that the SeeMor Putter brings to everyone. And the immediate feedback that the student sees and feels and learns on a repetition, day in and day out on the same stroke, just the joy they have now of, I understand actually what my putting is supposed to feel like. And I know for sure that there's not many putters, not any putters out there actually that can say that. I say this where the simple RST allows you to set up the same way every single time for every single putt. Doesn't matter what length of putt it is. The feedback you get is consistent and leads to more confident putting.
Yeah, it's putting made simple. What is that? I mean, it's the rifle scope is a technical design. It really is, but it's simple to the end user, and I think that's important. Is like for a lot of instructors and how they present that to the average golfer is like putting is a pretty tough part of the game. So it may not be as simple to them and how they explain it, but if you can break it down in a way that they understand it, it is simple in terms of being able to reinforce good setup and how that works. And it's part of it is science, but we were just talking with a guy the other day who said, there is science in putting, and it's not all about science, but science helps make it look like a work of art, which is pretty cool. And that's what it is like there's a lot of science behind the rifle scope technology, but all you really need to do is be able to see the two white lines, and you at least can start in the same position and grow from there.
Well, when you have your student, walk out the door and turn around and goes, well, why isn't everybody using this? They get it, they understand it, and our response back to them, yeah, go show them why everyone should be using it.
You know, Ted, we also, there are only a couple of Monday qualifiers, and one of the other Monday qualifiers was actually a teaching professional from the Pittsburgh area that qualified because he won the section using a straight center shaft putter. And he came over and just admired our entire range of straight center shaft putters, and he wants to become one of our certified instructors. So, you know, again, the whole world of possible players out there was small for us because so many are off limits with full 14 club packages. But it was really rewarding to know that, you know, some of the people that were out there that are a part of our entire system. This gentleman here, you know, at the end of this week, he's going to go back to his job as a director of instruction. And he recognizes the benefit of SeeMore's rifle scope technology. Even talked about having his son come on board with us. So, you know, it's good stuff. It's people recognize that what we're trying to do is we're really trying to help the 99% of people that don't play on tour. But the fact that we do go out to the tour and get great feedback is just, it really, it's just a validator, really.
Exactly.
Again, you're listening to The Putting Couch, brought to you by the SeeMore Putter Company's tour team. I'm Jim. I'm with Cody and Ted, and we've all spent a lot of time on tour over the years. We're not there every single day. We're not there every single week, but when we go out there, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of people that love to catch up with us. They tell us how often. Really, the caddies and the other tour reps out there that use our product, how many birdies they're making. It's good fun. We're really an insider's brand. Through the podcast, hopefully more and more golfers will learn not just about all the things that they never knew about putting, but you know, the SeeMore brand, we're out here to help.
Yeah, and if you like the podcast, share it with, again, 2, 3, 4 more of your friends. Get our listeners growing. We're in quite a few countries around the world now, and it's taking traction. So share this by email or text with your buddies out there.
It's excited to get the new season kicked off here in the fall. So yeah, it's going to be fun this fall with this new idea. So encourage you. I mean, there's some pictures floating around out there. Go check out this new SeeMore Osmo. I mean, Golf WRX. Check out we got a couple videos on our Instagram page. Give us a follow there, and yeah, let us know your feedback.
That sounds great. Cody, Ted, thank you very much. Fun podcast. Some new equipment today. So we'll see the sound quality may be a little different than you're used to, and hopefully we're working our way towards being exactly where you want us to be for this podcast. So until next time, thanks so much.
We appreciate you joining us. If you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do wherever you're listening. Be sure to leave a rating and review because that's how we get the Putting Couch podcast content in front of more people. Also, take a screenshot and share it on social media and tag us at SeeMore Putters or hashtag Team SeeMore.